I'm so grateful that I can be back with you. It's been a while since I have done any kind of messages or information, and so I'm really thrilled to be able to continue on, at least sharing some of the things that are in my heart and some of the information that comes down through me. I'm a kind of a master of a lot of different trades in the healing arts, and I'm a counselor and a shaman, and have with me varied methods, I should say, to assist. So I'm going to let Spirit guide what this is going to be like today. I'm just my only prayer has been that it be something that will assist the many. And so thanks for watching. That's all I can say. Thank you very much for watching. Well, we are indeed in a very, I don't know even the word, in a very unusual time. And I will go into just a little more depth about what that really means when I do that blanket statement. But I can at least say to you that never before on this planet, or maybe even in the universe, has this particular kind of evolution taken place from the human being into the divine being. The clarity by which more and more people are coming to is very exciting. Now, the part that is difficult for most is that we really can't count on anything. It will change. We just talked to someone who's been in a nursing care home, and he's gone through a lot just being in there. He's a professional. He's a nurse himself. But it reminded me that in the metaphor of the whole thing is that you just never know what's going to come up next. We don't have any idea about the weather and when that's going to shift and where it's going to shift. We in the field of the beauty business, almost anything goes in terms of hair and color and design. So we're in this wide open creative space. I feel very strongly that part of that has to do with the fact is that we really need to realize that we are creative gods ourselves. When we come to that, it's going to be extremely, extremely exciting. And so what does that mean? That means that we have learned to view things from a divine perspective rather than from just a personal perspective. How do I feel? Now, clearly we can't do a lot on this planet until we have had some clarity. We can't share with others in any kind of depth if we haven't been in that rabbit hole ourselves, so to speak. So we're all pretty humble these days because we really don't know what's going to come next. So I want to start with letting you know that as wonky and strange as things appear, they have behind them each person's soul desires that are coming to the surface. So the first and number one thing is do what you can to listen to your soul rather than your personality, because your soul is directing this evolutionary process for yourself. So be still enough to hear the messages from your soul and from what some call, the Holy Spirit. The Holy Ghost. It's been called a lot of different things. But is indeed where we're able to balance ourselves through this through the sorrow and through the losses and through the what we perceive as losses. So know that everything that occurs to you is not coming from outside of you. It's coming from your own internal process, because the soul knows what you need to evolve. And each thing we go through is an evolving process. If we blame our state of being on anything that's going on outside of us, we become victims of something. And that's really no longer, I hate to say this, but it's no longer tolerated in terms of the work that's going on here on the planet. I've debated on whether I really wanted to talk about the cracking open of the universal envelope, so to speak, because what's really happening in every place you go, you keep hearing about it, and that is that we are already visited by our galactic brothers and sisters. Some call it the Galactic Federation. That doesn't sound familiar. That's, Star Trek all the way, which actually, in truth, I knew Star Trek was a metaphor for our coming times, because I could feel it. There's just amazing things that came out of that show. And Gene Roddenberry, I think, he knew it. He knew also. So prepare yourself for an expansion. And part of that expansion will be that there is assistance and connection with, when I say our ancestors, I mean a lot of our DNA has come from there. In fact, most of it. My mentor, Dr. Robert Gibson, who is now not in physical right this moment, but he calls us colonizers. That this earth has been colonized by several different factions, but some more important than others. Now, I'm not asking anybody to believe that. It just makes sense. And of course, the petroglyphs and the stories from the indigenous people have discussed that as well. So we know that we're in a time when it's not just about Earth, that what's taking place on Earth is being watched and admired, from what I understand, the admiration that we are working so diligently to clear our past traumas, find a place of peace where we can have compassion and understanding for others, because that's where they're at. They can't be anywhere else besides where they're at. And even if it's 5 minutes later, it doesn't matter. That's what was resonating for them, and they couldn't have performed or acted out in a certain way. And it's the same for us. I know all of us have had times where we thought, it might be interesting if I'd done this instead of that. But here we are. I decided that one of the things I wanted to do was to play with the cards in a really unusual way. Now, this deck particularly, believe it or not, I don't even know the name of this deck. I've had it for probably 35 years and have used it because I call it my emotional deck of cards, of tarot. So that's what it has. So I think it's fun to get the clarity that we may want by having a tool that can maybe give us a clue, and that knowing full well that the reader has turned themselves over to whatever it is that needs to be done. And there are many, many people doing that these days. So I'm just going to pull one card. Now, what's key for this is when I pull one card, it's going to just demonstrate the vibrational frequency that we're working with right now. I'm talking about right now in this reading or in this YouTube. So let's pick one for all of us. How about that? And you think that's ridiculous, but we're really talking about, where the big picture is, the bigger picture is. I didn't say the past, I said the bigger picture. So as I scuttle through these and bless them, also I'm placing a choke array over these cards at this point as we bring in some of the Reiki energy as well and other healing modalities. Okay, let's pick a card. Let's see what we got. Okay, we got the Page of Swords. Now, swords are about our mind. And I just read something that I had written down as a note, and I hope I can remember it to say it to you. It has to do with the fact that we're really not doing things through our mind. We're doing them through higher mind. And with higher mind, what we're looking at is, okay, how does that correlate to what our path is or what's going on at the time, and how can I best handle that? So this also indicates that we're kind of young when it comes to using the mental processes. We've fallen into data processing thinking rather than what higher mind is really all about, which, I'm not going to get into this tonight, but that a lot of very reputable people have declared that even though their brain was shown under the machines as brain dead, that they were experiencing on the table amazing things. And when they came back in, they realized that, they weren't using their brain. They were using this higher consciousness of mind. So it's a learning time. And when we get to the page, we're looking at someone who really wants to know, how can I best wake up and see what's happening? Now, there's one section of this which is it's very what can I say? It's very dubious, questionable. Well, that's an interesting statement. On every front. I mean, we feel that way about our authority, what people think are authorities. We feel that way about the political system. We feel that way about the news media, and it's just like it's a good thing, but it's really amazing that we have to think for ourselves, bring in our own intuition. It doesn't matter. There is no such thing as right and wrong. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to ask now, so what is the topic? What is the topic that is going on right now and that the page is trying to learn? Let's look. Well, there we go. So I received the card that came up was the Lovers. Now, it doesn't mean finding a partner as much as it is merging and connecting. We're half-breeds because we came from a mother, a feminine, and a masculine. And the sooner we recognize those two parts of ourselves and allow them to work together, the effortlessness of living becomes a totally different experience. So that's what's going on the planet, and everyone that actually is working in that direction, whether they know it or not, are working on the balancing around love, lovers, loving. Now, God, we could do a whole video on just love, the word love. And love really can be described in several different ways. Love is that place within us that understands, has compassion. Love is then there are 4 kinds of love, which I think I've said this in one of my videos, but I'll brush over it again. There's the philia love, which is I like this person. It's a friendship love. This came from the Greeks, by the way. This is Greek philosophy. Then there's Paya, and Paya is mothering love. It's protecting and loving not just your child, but your inner child as well. And so Paya becomes, an important thing in being able to stay here in physical form and be taken care of. The next one is called Eros, and this is chemical love. This is when the chemistry, it's a mystery, the chemistry of 2 people, or 3 or 4 or 5, or a church or whatever that comes into play, that you have a strong chemical connection with what's going on. So in that connection, then things move to the next level, into agape or agape. And that's the Christ-like love. That's the love that passes all understanding. That's the love that indicates in the practical terms that whenever anybody does anything, to them in that moment, it feels right, proper, and justifiable, or they could not perform the act. And that includes ourselves. So finding a place within ourselves first to know that we did the best we could with what the light we had at the time. It's not an excuse. It's a realization of truth. That's how we function. Until we move out of that, then what we're looking at is the merging of everything. I'm fortunate enough, and I don't often share this, but I'm fortunate enough to have a period of time in my life where the oneness of feeling like everything around you, we're talking mountains and animals and plants and people, and we're that feeling that we're all one. It's like there's no separation. Now I realize we have a ways to go with this, but we are on that ecliptic moment in time where we can shift so quickly into a lighter, wiser, more open beingness, because we have it in us. We came with it. So ask yourself, what's my purpose here? What is it I came to do? Nobody pushed me out. heaven or wherever, whatever place. I don't know if it's heaven. I believe heaven can be anywhere. And we decided there was something we wanted to do, something we wanted to clear up. We wanted evolution for our souls. And there's going to be massive, massive amounts of people just moving directly from their physical body into divine consciousness, because they've done their work here and they've experienced it here, as well as not having a body and experiencing it as well. All things are starting to become clear. All prophecies that have been put out there for humanity is now. It's happening now. So I'm not asking anybody to believe that. I'm only stating this knowing that I have about all of this, and many, many others feel the same way as well, but that's not the point. The point is what do we feel? Praise yourself for the work you're doing. It's not easy. I just recently had the worst case of stomach flu I've ever had in my whole entire life. I thought, and I had COVID, but it's like, I thought, my God, this is I mean, I was in the rabbit hole and I just had to figure out a way to come back out. And when you're that sick, I don't know, it's pretty hard. So we're all going through either physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual shifting and changing right now that are part of this whole process. So fear. Let me talk for a minute about fear, if I can. In the 70s, I read a book called The Dune Trilogies. They're now putting it into a movie. There's 2 phases of it they've already filmed, and the book goes a long ways. But the one that struck me the most, or the first one, the first book, there was a initiation he had to go through. This young man, he had to go through in order to move to the next level, and it had to do with pain. And so he valiantly went ahead and did the work of experiencing the pain, passed the test. But what he was told was that this little saying, fear is the mind killer, the little death. I will face my fear. I will allow it to move through me. And when I turn my inner eye, fear will be gone, and only I will remain. So it became a mantra for me for all these years, and I love passing it on, and we're now hearing it in the movie theaters, and it's very exciting for me. So there doesn't need to be fear. If there is fear, that's okay. I mean, fear is a process of handling or working with the unknown, where we don't get to know, we just have to experience. And it's scary. So each one of us that are going through these, and it's different for everyone. There isn't one way to do this. So I just want to share tonight in this video that you will all make it through. You will not be given more than you can do. But there's several things you need to be aware of. Take care of your vehicle. Take care of your body. The other thing is rid yourself of judgment. There's a difference between stating a fact. For instance, I'll give you an example. Someone walks in with this bright red shirt, and you don't particularly like the shirt, the bright red shirt. So basically, you're just looking at the shirt, and it's a comment is being required. So stating a fact is that's really a bright red shirt, which is just describing it, or just a description. If we can stay in the descriptions rather than, boy, that red shirt, I really don't like it, which turns into judgment. So pay attention, because judgment is the reason almost everything has gone chaotic on the planet. And work on it, because it's a tough one. It's a tough one. One has to pay attention every moment. That we don't fall into that, because that's the pattern we've been in. That's the way our parents did it, and our parents' parents, and on and on and on and on. Fairly soon, I'm going to have something up here where you can ask questions, where you'll be able to ask questions. But I don't have that in place yet. So we'll do that, but write your questions down. And if you really want to talk to me, you can also use my my email, Sinead@sinead.com, or my phone number, which is on my website. And if it's not, I'm not sure. Wait a minute, I don't think it is, but it's 602-908-6971. Give me a call, and I'll arrange some time where we can visit and we can talk. I love you all. Anyone that's interested enough to hear these kind of things and to know that we're in an exciting time too. But we just got to keep walking up the mountain. There's no room for even sleep. We can get stuck somewhere sleeping. So pay attention. Pay attention. All right. Well, we've got a new moon tonight. I think today's the 27th, 28th. Today's the 28th, which is a 1. And this next year coming up, is also a 1 vibrationally. So there's no question, we're getting signals from everyone that it's time for change, lots of change. We've always had it, but this is like big mountainous change. So be brave, ask for assistance. There's no shame in asking for help. And just know that I'm in this dance with you, and we'll all be fine. So I want to thank you, and much love to you. Much love. Bye now.